After offering few explanations about why he didn't keep a closer eye on the Greenbelt land deals, Ontario's housing minister is off the job. He'll keep his seat here at Queen's Park, but as the opposition puts it, the Premier's office has lost its buffer.
Good afternoon, everyone.
He repeated it over and over again.
I completely accept the responsibility. I take responsibility. I've been very open with Ontarians today in terms of accepting complete responsibility. I'm accepting the responsibility as minister.
Steve Clark, just days ago, apologizing for his department's handling of the Greenbelt land swaps. Still, he vowed to stay on.
Why don't you resign today, Minister?
I'm here to accept responsibility.
Now Clark says it's his responsibility to adhere to the principles of ministerial accountability and step down from his cabinet role. The move comes after a report by the province's Integrity Commissioner concluded Clark's failure to properly oversee his staff during the land selection process gave some developers an unfair advantage and broke ethics rules. It was the second independent report to find that process flawed. In his resignation letter, Clark wrote, "The housing crisis demands someone who is not a distraction, and his presence will only cause a further distraction." The NDP has been demanding Steve Clark's resignation. He has resigned. Is that good enough?
Not good enough. The government and the Premier have to be accountable to the people of this province.
The NDP leader wants Doug Ford to reverse the land removals. But when the legislature is resumed here in 3 weeks and another housing minister is named, that person is presumably just going to say, "I wasn't in charge of this file."
I think that the Premier and his government would do well to just be completely open and upfront with Ontarians about what's taken place here, because you're right, it's just going to continue to be an issue for the next minister and the minister after that.
What should have been for them a policy achievement, we're going to build more homes, has turned into a political controversy at this point, bordering on and having the ingredients for a full-blown scandal.
Clark's chief of staff, who personally selected more than 90% of the land removed from the Greenbelt for housing development, had already resigned. Neither resignation came at the request of the Premier, but this political scientist suspects by staying on, Clark was no longer protecting his boss.
The fact that he was staying in cabinet despite having admitted to mismanaging the most politically sensitive part of the government's most important policy agenda was going to be very difficult, and probably that in and of itself would have raised questions about why the Premier was showing so much loyalty to him.
If you're Premier Doug Ford and your housing minister has just stepped down, what do you do?
I think he continues with the message that their priority is to build more housing. The challenge for him is by depersonalizing it, people are going to be looking for who to blame for this, and I think increasingly questions will be raised about who in the Premier's office was doing what behind the scenes.
As for who will face the grilling in the legislature from the opposition, the Premier's office has announced his former Minister of Long-Term Care, Paul Calandra, now takes over the housing portfolio. And another cabinet shakeup to tell you about, former Minister of Transportation, Caryn Ceolin, becomes the president of the Treasury Board. We'll hear more from Ford in the morning. He's expected to deliver remarks and answer questions at Queen's Park at 10 a.m. Caryn Ceolin, City News.